Hello, Money Queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, Money Queens. Welcome back to Women Behind the Millions, where we talk all things power, pink, and prosperity. Tonight's episode is about grit, where faith and resiliency and grit all coming together we have another one of our financial trendsetters from Financial Trendsetters 4 with us tonight. We have with us Heather Brown. She is a powerhouse lady. She is the founder and CEO of Haven Family Life, where she helps individuals and families build financial security, eliminate debt, create lasting, intentional wealth. As a licensed financial professional, she specializes in retirement planning, tax advantage strategies, and protection-focused solutions to guide our clients with both expertise and genuine care. Heather shares her story to connect with women who may feel overwhelmed or unqualified, offering encouragement and a reminder that it's never too late to learn, rebuild, and move forward. So let's bring Heather to the stage. Here we go. Hello, Heather. How are you tonight?
Jessica, I am good. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you.
It is good to see you again as well.
What was it like, Heather, going through the process of becoming a financial trendsetter?
It was actually so much fun. I enjoyed so much being in New York City with such amazing women and with you, and that was just an amazing time to be a part of this. And coming into doing what I do here in the financial industry. Obviously, the name of my chapter in your Financial Trendsetters book is Jesus, Grit, and Wealth, and that grit part of it. It's a lot of work, it does take grit. It does take stick-to-itiveness, and I'm just glad to be here, though.
And to make it through the resiliency of it. Heather, your story in your chapter really blew me away. It's one of those chapters that does stick with you. You lost your husband at an early age, right? You're 47 years old. You have your family. You're trying to navigate grief and the finances of it. Seem to be very overwhelmed. And you asked for a friend who's a financial advisor to come and help you. Do you mind sharing this story with our viewers tonight?
No, I don't mind at all. I hadn't ever asked for help because I was kind of like, I think most people are. I use the example, you hire someone to come and clean your house, but you clean it before they get there because you don't want someone to see your financial mess. And so because of that, I kept thinking one day I'll be at a place financially that I can ask someone for help. And I think that's how a lot of people feel. They think that they have to have some things in place before they even need an advisor. But I was at a place at that point where I needed someone to help me. When my husband passed away, we didn't have life insurance. We had spent what little savings we had on trying to help save his life. And here I was with 2 kids still at home, one in high school, one in college. And I'm like, I need help. And I invited him to come, one, because he sold life insurance. And I said, I do need life insurance on myself. God forbid I don't want my children going through what I'm going through right now. And so he came over and sat down at the table. We worked through the life insurance policy. And then I laid out, as embarrassed as I was, my whole financial situation, thinking he's going to meet me where I am. And instead, he spent an hour telling me how I need to save $1.5 million and I can retire on $5,000 a month for the rest of my life as soon as I have that. And it was like, I was like, read the room, buddy. I'm just trying to
the room. Exactly.
Well, yeah. And so I was still in that embarrassed state of, here I am. Everything has fallen apart in my life and financially it's a mess. And I just nicely said, do I owe you anything for your time? And he said, just $120. And I will never forget that amount because that was a lot to me at that point. And I wrote a check, gave it to him. And I literally looked at the paper when he left and said, what do I do with this? Like, I needed to know today and tomorrow and next week and the next month, not just try to do this. And once you get there, come back to me and then we can talk kind of thing. And I decided, no, I've got to figure this out on my own. I will get out of this hole that I'm in and I'll figure it out. So that's what I did.
That's a different conversation for a completely different time.
Yeah.
I need to know, how do I survive today? I'm not worried about retirement. I'm trying to figure out the bills today.
Right.
Wow, Heather. I can't even imagine. And then to charge you money for something that wasn't even useful at the time.
Yeah.
Not even useful. How did you get out of that hole?
So, a few months passed and I was looking for what opportunity can I do that is going to create the type of income that I need to replace two incomes to get me out of this hole quickly. I was young, but I was still 47, and that's not really young to start from scratch when you're trying to plan your retirement, eliminate debt, all of those things. And I realized that the financial industry was a multi-trillion-dollar industry and that there were a lot of people doing very well in that industry. And I was like, well, geez, this is literally what I'm even needing to learn to help myself through this. And so it all just came into place. It made so much sense to get licensed, to start, helping people, but then also creating an income for myself and my family. And I not only have been able to do that, but also help other people learn how to do that. And, and I can meet people where they are saying, I have these conversations. I literally had one this week with a client. She said, I'm just embarrassed to tell you all this. And I said, please don't be. I want you to tell me everything. And this is where I started. And because I can briefly share my story and help them feel comfortable that, hey, you're not alone. This is where I love to start with you. And you can get through this. So
it's a great message. Instead of what the advisor told you, come back to me when you have enough saved up. It's like, this is when we build the foundation.
Yeah.
This is the most critical time for us to start working together. It's not when you've amassed the money. We work together so that you can amass the money.
That's it.
And get the right habits in place, the fundamentals in place too. Heather, you mentioned there's no guidebook for surviving a spouse suddenly and how to manage it all. What were some of the unexpected responsibilities that really took the wind out of your sails, kind of knocked you out?
Yeah, it's everything is on you and half of you is gone. You say when you get married, you become one, and it's like one, you're trying to navigate even your purpose. Like, who am I now? Like, what is happening? And so there's that part of it. And then you're taking care of all of the bills. There were simple things that I didn't put into place, like, hey, what's the combination to the safe? What are your passwords on your computer, and things that, we take for granted, and you're trying to figure all of those things out. I just remember making the phone calls to take his name off of things. And every time it was like he was dying again and the emotions would hit. And there are just so many things that happen in that time. And that's where the financial trendsetter thing comes into place too, is because, if you've lived it, you understand, like, everything is shaken and you're starting from square one again. Your identity, trying to figure out who you are. And that is something in this process that really helped me to figure out, who are you, Heather? Outside of everything else, who are you and what are you able to do and accomplish?
Yes. And to your point, every time you had to do something with his name, it was like reliving it all over again.
Yeah.
And Heather, before reaching out to a financial advisor, before your husband's passing, you delayed reaching out to a financial advisor. What would be some advice you would give to people that are kind of in that same boat? They're not quite ready there yet. Or do I have enough wealth to work with somebody? What would you tell them?
Yeah, a lot of people that I talk to even now, they're just trying to navigate the simple things. And I look at it very simply like a GPS system. And that's how I explain it to them. Like, okay, you're going on a trip. Where do you want to be? Where would you see yourself on vacation? Where do you want to go? And just dream. Just dream. Like dream again, like because a lot of people, because maybe they're worried about debt and other things that they can't even dream. They're just in survival mode. I say, where do you want to go? And then I take them. Then, okay, well, if we're going to do a GPS, we got to key in where you're going, but we have to start with where you are and then let the GPS navigate us through. And that's how I explained it to them. And that's what I want to do with you today. Let's talk about where you want to go. Let's dream that. And then let's talk about exactly where you are. And I mean, like down to the nitty gritty. What are the debts? And then I talk about 4 pillars of financial health. The first being protection, and make sure, let's get a good plan in place, but we don't know what tomorrow holds. Let's know that regardless, your family's going to get to that dream place that we're talking about, even if you're not in the picture anymore. The second part being debt elimination, because why are you letting your money, I'm married again, and my new husband and I, we called it Operation Stop the Bleeding, right? That's what we call it with my clients. Stop paying banks and lenders and pay yourself. Like, let's get out of debt as quickly as we can, and we help them through that process. And then at the same time, creating wealth and legacy. And that 4th part, legacy, is the one that they're like, I'm just trying to get through. Like I was that day sitting there with that financial advisor. You're talking about $5,000 a month. Who can live on $5,000 a month in today's day anyway? And I have to save $1.5 million to get there. Like everything you're just saying just seemed like fell to me. So, I want to leave a legacy. And so now when I'm able to look at their situation and lay out for them a GPS plan to get there, if they just follow the steps, it's like an aha moment. Wait, Heather, this is too good to be true. What's the catch? Like, those are all the kind of things that people say. And I'm like, there really isn't. It really isn't too good to be true. It's just no one ever told you how to start today and just take little steps to get to where you're going.
Yes, that's beautiful, Heather. The little bite-sized pieces that are digestible for them. So that they see, yes, we're working towards here, but we don't need to focus on there. We can focus on these little things that you can do every day with us. Heather, faith has been a big part of your story as well. I could tell in your chapters woven all throughout your story, your journey. How has your relationship with God sustained you through the grief, the uncertainty, rebuilding your life after your husband's passing?
That's 100% the foundation. That's why Jesus is the number one part of my title of my chapter, is because you wake up at 3:00 in the morning with the weight of the world on your shoulders thinking, how am I going to do this? And I actually did a blog during that time and wrote another book called From Morning to Morning Coffee, MOURNINT to Morning Coffee. And it was just really my 3:00 in the morning coffee and Jesus time to really just sit and read and pray and get through things. And that was like my strength and my foundation through all of that. There's a scripture that says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And my favorite quote is, those who don't create the future they want must endure the future they get. And I knew that while God gives us the strength and the ability, he also, there's a scripture that says he will give us the knowledge of witty invention. And so it just became like he was my guide, my strength, my teacher, like through all of that, to say, hey, take this path. And there are a couple times, because like we said at the beginning, in the grit part of it, that I was like, am I doing the right thing? Am I completely out of his will, or am I in the middle of his will? Because it wasn't easy. And, it never is when you're trying to do something right, like eliminate your debt, build wealth, those type things. There are a lot of sacrifices that you have to make along the way and a lot of work that you have to put into it. It just doesn't come. And every time I would get to that point, like something would happen. I call them God winks. That would be like, yes, you are right where you're supposed to be. Just hang in there. You're going to look back at the other side of this and realize that it was all worth it.
Yes. So true. And even in the Bible, there are times there's droughts, there's hardships. And I even said this to my daughter yesterday. She was trying out for a club team. I said, God wouldn't put you in a situation he didn't already know that you could handle it and expand from. And my son, who's 6, he's like, I don't know what that means yet, Mommy. You will.
I'm glad that you don't yet.
You will. But he already sees your success through it. The success might not be how we view it.
Yeah.
But we will always have those kinds of successes. When in your journey did you realize that you could take this pain and put it into purpose, change it into purpose, and serve others the same way, Heather?
It took a little bit. It was first just me trying to create a business to have the income that I needed. I wasn't looking at it from a place of purpose beyond myself and my family. I was just thinking I can make a lot of money doing this if I do it right. But then as I began working with clients and people and seeing their situations and seeing myself in many of them, it was like, wait, I'm not just doing this for an income. This is not a job. This is my purpose again. Now, and that kind of, you asked me from the beginning what it was like navigating after losing your husband, not knowing your purpose. It was like all of a sudden, something that seemed so negative in my life, that loss and what followed, actually transformed my situation to allow me to do something now that is so meaningful to other people. And now I have relationships with clients and people that I have been able to walk through those things. I have women that, one of my first death claim on life insurance, I had remembered it was like a year before that I had written their life insurance policies, and they were I just don't know if we can afford it, but we can't not afford it if something happens to one of us, we'll lose our home, all of those things. And I remember the day I got a text from her and she said, Heather, I put my husband in an ambulance this morning. He didn't make it to the hospital. He's gone and I don't know what to do. I'm numb. And yeah, that was literally my reaction. Hair stood up on my arms and I was like, oh my goodness. And I call her, and she had a $500,000 life insurance policy on him that they had for like a year and a half. And she said, it paid off her home. It gave her money to help she and her kids. And she was a teacher. She was like, there's no way we could have just maintained without that. And here I was worried so much about, how I was going to pay for the premium, not knowing that a year and a half later he was going to be gone. And she said, well, what if I wouldn't have done that, And then just those type things have just, it's this is what I was meant to do. And I just didn't even know it.
Yes. You say you push people, encourage them, I should say, to have those what if conversations more than ever because you've gone through it. What are some of these conversations that you have, or scenarios that you have people think about on the planning side?
Yeah, the first question, it's all about asking the right questions because, again, I'm not a salesperson. I always say I'm a consultant. And so it's making sure that I understand where they are. So the first question I ask is, we all are guaranteed that we're going to die one day. But what we don't know is when that day is going to be. So what we need to do is plan as if it's tomorrow. If you knew you were going to die tomorrow, what would you want to have in place to make sure your family is okay? And then look at it from that standpoint. Again, like the GPS, kind of like where, what would happen if this happened? And, if it's, paying off their home or, putting their kids through college. Like I want my kids to be able to go to college. I want to be able to provide this type of a wedding for my children. Those are kind of some of the main things, right, that people think might be sacrificed if one of the breadwinners is gone. And so that's really kind of one of the first conversations that I have.
Yeah, I would never want my passing to also be a financial hardship on my family. And I always think I want to be able to pay the house off, their colleges, but even things like my daughter's wedding. If I'm not here to be able to pick out my daughter's wedding dress with her, I want to have an amount and she get whatever dress she wants, however much money, because that is just something that I want to be able to do for my family.
That is exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
Me too. If somebody's watching today and they have been avoiding financial planning, what is one small step you would tell them? What's one small thing that they can do?
the first thing is to find someone that is a financial planner that does look at the whole picture. Like not just someone that wants you to invest a lot of money with them, but someone who wants to sit down with you right where you are and they don't care about your mess. In fact, they're not even afraid of your mess as you may be. And just take the first step to sit down with them and talk with them, because that is really where you need to start. And then figure out where you are, right? I think the statistic is 75% of people don't have a financial plan, and 65% have no idea where their money went last year or last month. It's like, well, I know, we bought groceries and this and that. I spent about this much, but they don't really know where their money is going. And that's the first step that you need to take. That I go back to that Operation Stop the Bleeding. You might find there are little things that you are paying that you don't even realize you're paying. But what if you were investing that money? It's not the big amounts. It's taking the small steps.
The small steps. I love that. Don't be scared for people to see your financial mess. Well, you see a mess, we see opportunities. The opportunities. So that's why you work with us. I love the GPS analogy. That is fantastic to be able to see what are those little steps along the way, and knowing what the overall goal is, knowing that we're still going to make it there. We might hit traffic, we might hit speed bump or whatnot, but we still know we're on the same path.
Well, and let me say something to that quickly is that's part of the GPS system. If you're in the GPS, you're on a trip and you see the little red lines and the yellow lines and you're like, oh no, what is going on? It's traffic or there's a roadblock or something else. And your GPS reroutes you. And when you are working with a financial planner that's helping you through that, they're the first person you can pick up the phone and call. Hey, this happened. This was unexpected. And they can say, don't worry. We'll reroute this. It may take us a little longer to get to where we were going, but we can still get there.
Yes, that's a great point, Heather. Thank you for bringing that up, that there are other routes to get there. We can pivot. And it's more important to communicate that information with us as you're going through it. That, this happened a few months ago. Word too. Well, we have one more question for you, Heather. You have been fantastic today. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
That's a great question. Is that your daughter?
It is. Yes.
I love that. Well, that's a very good question. It is because of being able to, I don't think the dollars are the things. It is the lives that you're able to change, the people that you're able to work with. And I have found when you put people first, money follows when that happens.
Yes. And it's true, especially when one generation gets their finances in order and starts to they're building up that legacy. It's going to change every generation past that.
Every generation.
And don't think it's just about us. This is changing everything for your family and your grandchildren and the great-great-great-grandchildren that you'll never meet. You're putting them on the right path as well, having the right fundamentals.
So good. So true.
For it. So thank you so much, Heather, for being part of Financial Trendsetters, part of the community. Go and grab the copy now on Amazon. Read Heather's chapter. It is, what you went through. My heart broke when I read about your story, Heather, but really for the inspiration you brought of helping so many other people get through that, but also to protect for what ifs. Of that animal.
Thank you, Jessica, for having me. Thank you. This is a family I never thought I'd be a part of, but I'm so glad to be.
Same. All right. Well, we'll see you all on our next episode of Women Behind the Millions, where we interview another one of our trendsetter ladies. We'll see you then. Bye, ladies. Bye, Money Queens.
Hey, Money Queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at PinkFixMyMoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.